Hey, welcome, fellow babies. How's it going out there? It's Ukraine Update here on the Shills, and we are doubly blessed today because not only is the great operator Katsky here, but we got Georges from Ukraine Matters as well. And Starsky, we've got an amazing thing to start out today's show with, don't we? A heartfelt shout out from us indeed.
Oh yeah, so we have a huge update, a bit unexpected for majority of y'all there, I believe. So our mercenary moderator Janine, and I'm sure that you know this person very well because she eliminated plenty of orcs and Russian bots in chats and commentaries and everywhere. I believe she killed more than myself. And she decided to go to Ukraine. And what she will do in Ukraine is she will join this Magic Kitchen, which is an initiative uh, created by volunteers that come to Ukraine and prepare food for Ukrainian soldiers. And she decided to join this project. I think it's a great decision. Of course, I told her about all the risks. Basically, there's just two of them, either being obliterated by an unfortunate missile strike or drone strike. Uh, but it didn't scare her at all. So she made a decision and she is in the process of moving to Ukraine. And because we're all friends, we decided to make a small fundraiser for Janine because she will need it. And so you will find her PayPal in the description, right, Dick?
Yes, we're putting it. I actually screwed up. It's not in the description. It's being edited right now, and we're also dropping the link feverishly in the live chat, and so is the bot. You can't miss it. Tag any one of the moderators, and they'll get you that link. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we gotta make some selfies, definitely, and try some sushi. That's 100%. So yeah, and regarding the headlines, I think that we should start reviewing this week uh, with the Russians invading Russia, because this week we saw something completely amazing. And for those who didn't follow the news much, the Russian partisans, there are two voluntary um, organizations fighting for Ukraine against the Russian invaders, and those are Freedom for Russia Legion and Russian Voluntary Corps. Those organizations, those not organizations, let's call them brigades, right? Units. So those units infiltrated the Belgorod region in Russia, and it's not Belgorod.
Belgorod People's Republic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Belgorod People's Republic is free, and it will be free forever. As a result of their operation in Belgorod, Russians lost a motorized company that was shelled. It lost several armored vehicles. It lost several fuel trucks and plenty of men. Also, the border station at the border guard station at the border was also uh, eliminated, destroyed, captured, basically, as well as several Russian prisoners that were transferred to the Ukrainian side to receive all necessary treatment and food, of course. And they will enjoy breathing the air of democracy in Ukraine. And after a while, Russians decided to launch the counter-terrorist operation in the area. They were silent for the whole day. As soon as this attack started, first the so-called governor of Belgorod Gladkov said that it was nothing more than a Ukrainian psyops, and then after maybe 5-6 hours, when there was a real war in the area involving artillery, tanks, aviation, only then they announced the counter-terrorist operation. They asked people to move out, to evacuate using their own transport. And after a while, in the evening, this counter-terrorist operation was over. They announced about ending the counter-terrorist operation. However, the next morning, Gladkov made another video where he said that citizens of those towns, and we have to mention that at least 3 towns were captured by the Russian partisans that established control over a territory that was several times bigger than Bahkmut. Only it took them like half a day, probably. And in this video, Kov said that citizens should not return to their homes yet until the counter-terrorist operation is over, even though it was announced as being over around midnight. Russians brought Humvee trucks, and those Humvee trucks were also noticed driving around Belgorod that very night. But before it happened, they placed those trucks near the artillery craters and made several pictures that were even criticized by Russians themselves. And as a result, those 2 Russian partisan units had a press conference on the Ukrainian territory where they shared the experience, everything they learned. They told all the story about this operation, what happened, what were they doing, what kind of vehicles they captured. And for example, Russian voluntary corps was able to capture BTR-80, BTR-82, and T-72 tank, and several other vehicles. So it was a great proof that Russia is not prepared to defend its territory from whatever forces, be it regular brigades, mechanized brigades, or partisan groups. They are not prepared, and those attacks will happen more and more. And Ukrainian side that was not involved into
Oh, oh no.
situation. And
There we go.
hello.
Just we lost you for a sec there. It was about 3 seconds
yeah.
to phase out.
Yeah, you were almost like Zaluzhny just recently.
Yeah. So because Ukraine was not involved into this operation whatsoever, but we will still Russian partisans morally and psychologically because they deserve it. They deserve to return home and remove the Putinist regime. So also the G7 meeting happened, and on this meeting, all the leading countries of the world announced that they will keep supporting Ukraine with whatever needed to protect the Ukrainian citizens from the Russian terrorists and restore the internationally recognized borders of Ukraine. That's why they will improve sanctions against Russia. That's why they will keep providing weapons to Ukraine to defend ourselves. That's why they will train our pilots. And for those who think that...
Oh, sorry. If you're still finishing up. I just thought that there was a point to come back to with regards to crossing the border, but finish up your G7 point.
Yeah, and for those who still don't understand why it's so important, like G7, who even cares about G7? So G7 is responsible for approximately one third global GDP of planet Earth, and the overall net worth of G7 countries is approximately $200 trillion, which is approximately 200 times more than the Russian annual GDP, just so you could understand the whole picture. That's why Russia will not be able to do anything, and the sanctions will eventually make it collapse real bad. Uh, and by the way, before we return to the Russian partisans, I would also like to mention one interesting thing about Prigozhin, because Prigozhin announced that he will be training the Russian territorial defense to defend against such partisans. And to think about it, Russia invaded Ukraine having all kinds of advantage in terms of manpower, vehicles, airplanes, missiles, and all kind of shit. At the same time, only after a year of this invasion, Russia already has to form the territorial defense on the territory of Russia because they are winning this war. So people could just understand the whole picture. So, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, like you're so correct in everything you say. Especially, I think the biggest kind of to me realization for me, like how far Russia is gone, was like a month or 2 months ago. Was like this big discussion that Russia is going to produce like hundreds and thousands of tanks. And then there was like some talking head, I believe it was at a Medvedev or like someone that has like been seeing too long like the depth of the battle and studying it intensively. But what he said was that finally, like Russia will have 3-1 advantage to Ukraine in tanks by the end of the year, which is funny because Russia started this war with about 6-1 advantage. So that was kind of the funny part for me to hear when they were discussing this. But
Yeah,
coming back
absolutely.
to, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, because Russia had approximately 10,000 tanks in its possession as of February 2022. In 458 days, they lost almost 4,000 tanks. Less than 4,000, but almost 4,000 tanks.
What the fuck?
They lost several times more tanks than Ukraine actually physically had on its territory. And even though Ukraine officially had several thousand tanks, but we only had 800 functioning tanks in the beginning of this invasion. So again, it's for those who still think that, and I remember uh, who states that Ukrainians are losing 7 times more men than Russians, and it's completely logical because he is so experienced in military arts that he sincerely believes that defending forces always lose more men than the advancing forces. It is just so ridiculous, so I cannot express my feelings.
Yeah. It's like the precaution and his calculations. I was already laughing in my latest video. It was literally just a video where I was laughing my ass off of like Prigozhin talking about different stuff because in like 2 sentences he talks about the number of casualties that he sustained, and he didn't realize it because he was like trying to say, oh, we suffered like this percentage number of like the other troops, but also like Ukraine suffered this amount of like was 100,000 or something like this, and we suffered like less than half than that or something. So he didn't even realize that he mixed up those numbers so significantly that it didn't make any sense. But coming
Yeah.
back to the incursion of Russians into Russia, I think one of the least important things, but I think that we can discuss on this show, was the fact that this moved the non existent red lines of the nuclear annihilation even further. So now it's not the red line, you will not be able to enter the territory of Russia. Now you will not enter deep inside the territory of Russia. I'm not sure if you read the comments, because like I've been following a lot of these comments both on my channel and other discussions and so on about the evolution of these red lines, not just on the Russian side, but on the side of like Western observers and Western media and so on, and how all of this like no, the next red line is totally going to be the nukes. And it's kind of funny that people are still looking at how Russian borders are so empty that they need to form the territorial defense units, but apparently their missile their missile systems, all of their nuclear deterrence systems are like top notch, completely modern, up to date, never gonna fail, and gonna annihilate everything like like Kinjal. Everything is Kinjals there.
Yeah, yeah. Another funny thing that I would like to mention is Russian celebration around Bahkmut, because whatever you say now, I mean, the main objective of the whole Russian this invasion, this so-called special military operation, is achieved, because first it was like control over the whole Ukraine, then it was control over the left part of Ukraine, then it was control over several oblasts, including like Donetsk, Kherson, and whatever. And in the end, it appears that actually all this shit was started last year because they wanted Bahkmut, a small town that is approximately 8 kilometers across. And funniest thing is that to be able to fight in Bahkmut, Russians actually had to move out from Kherson. They had to withdraw from Kherson to be able to capture Bahkmut. And Kherson was the only major city in Ukraine that the Russians had. As of today, there are 22 major cities in Ukraine on the Ukrainian controlled territory, the same amount as we had before the invasion. And Russians, in 458 days, they don't have control over any of the major cities of Ukraine. Because they're winning this war, because Russia is so strong and mighty and all other shit.
I think it's because you have no idea about how wars are fought. I'm pretty sure that they just took the more comfortable defensive positions, but now I must shut up because the cat is in the picture. Like no one's gonna listen to me anyway.
Yeah,
Kitty.
she decided to wake up and say hello.
Cute little kitty.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is the kitty's name? Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, guys. I
Just
didn't plan to have a cat, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep her. But on the other hand, I think that I must, because
Yeah.
Let's donate it to Janine, maybe.
Yeah. We could call her Spot. She's got that nice little spot on her head. Give her a good old puppy name for Fudge.
yeah. Fido.
Yeah,
You know.
Fido. Yeah, Spot.
yeah, so I woke up this morning and I made an update for my channel, and because usually I do it before having breakfast, before before waking up, because I'm collecting all the information and stuff. So I decided to go and have a breakfast in a local facility, and there was this huge parking lot with like hundreds of cars, and the temperature of the asphalt was hot as hell. And I saw this small creature crawling around between cars and stuff, and I realized that, oh shit, my breakfast is screwed up. And I decided to take her to the vet, and the vet said that she will be fine. She couldn't see because her eyes were like glued together, and stuff, and she was hissing at me. So she's a warrior,
Yeah.
and then the doctor treated her eyes and stuff, and I'm still trying to feed her. But
Yeah,
she
you're keeping the cat. You're keeping the cat. Just admit it. You're keeping the cat. Like the cat
Brother
chose you.
Starsky, the
Your cat.
chat are the chat are catching on to the name of Fetch, so you end up with Fetch and Futch.
And Fudge. That
I think I will, if I have to call her, I will call her something like Chicken Nugget, maybe.
oh
Yeah,
Nugget.
yeah.
Nugget's
Yeah.
cute. That's cute.
Yeah.
Nugget would be cute. Yeah.
People are calling
In
Cotton
some-
cutie.
Yeah,
Cute.
in some areas in North America, you could call her Chicken Ball, and it would be quite accurate. But
Chicken ball. Nice. So again, I didn't plan to have a cat. I didn't want to have a cat, but now I do.
That's usually
And
the way it
I
goes.
think I think that I was cursed actually by our viewer Rodent, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I'm going to jump in here, everybody. I've got a list of shout outs to do here. So
Oh,
1
boy.
second here. We're going to do a bunch of shout outs. Then we're going to get Dave to bring in some viewer questions. And then Claire's got some news articles to bring up for our most esteemed guest to mull over. But Slava Ukraini had mentioned that he was in for dialysis on the last stream, and I didn't catch it until watching back a bit. So just wanted to give you a big shout out there. Make sure you're doing well. Thoughts and everything are with you. Robin Miller had donated $25 for the Boom Boom Fund. Arizona Felina, NAFO support, Ukraine operator Starsky, the new cat daddy. Love it. Slava Ukraini, burn Russia, burn. Then Nikki Hill sent in 25 American. Note from Nikki Hill, drones, glory to ZSU. And then Nikki Hill sent, okay, there's just a double copy because I'm stupid that way. Care Bear Gratitude, new member. Welcome to Shills Apprentice. Thank you very much. And Nikolai Gladza, I think is probably close. Shill Apprentice, new member again. Thank you there. Raven7, member message, longtime member. Awesome collabs. Doing great. Well, thank you. The Ukraine flag and whatnot there as well. And then there was another one from level 70. Mission accomplished. Starsky has the cat. Next mission, Starsky needs a wife. Oh, easy there, easy. Yeah, Secular Sakai jumped in with a member message. Do Urtkurian Fighters have a YouTube channel? Urtkurian Fighters. Lurchkurian? We'll have to look, but it would be funny.
Ichkarian.
Ichkarian.
Yeah, okay.
Ichkarian.
Oh.
Ichikarian. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was seeing an L or an I just because of the font they use on this damn note thing I'm using. Kind of got lost there.
I can quickly answer that. I'm not sure about the website, but there is a guy on YouTube. His name is Tunso Abdurrahmanov, and he's a big kind of known guy in the sphere of Ichkeria and so on. You can Google up. I believe he has a YouTube channel, and maybe he will have some links, or at least people in the comments will be able to guide you up on that. So Google Tunso Abdurrahmanov. I'm going to post it in chat.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted there. Damn it. Angela had done a direct donation in. It was 26 Canadian. Note from Angela was for the drones. I'm not saying more names. You know how that goes. I'm just not doing it. Raven7 put $30 in direct donation. Put some in the boom in the room. Best wishes to all AFU grenade delivery services. And then Secular Sakai gifted a Shills membership it didn't pop up who it was for. So thank you, both Secular Sakai and the new member. And Aussie T gifted a membership. And again, the service shat the bed. So I don't know who it was gifted to, but thank you and welcome. And then Niles Edom gifted 5 memberships out. And yet again, I don't know what level they are or to who, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Tone Ottenson, Otteson, I always do that. Member message came in. Give her the name Warrior. It's a good shout. That's a good shout. And then Secular Sakai donated $5 in. For those who wish to volunteer and help Ukraine, but are not soldiers or trained hospitalers, what are other volunteer positions most needed now? Great one to end on. Awesome.
I can only say that from a militarist perspective, we always need infantry. As for other types of support of volunteers, I don't really know. The best way, like the best thing you can do is you can contact your local volunteering organization or charity organization. And I'm sure that they already have connections in Ukraine. They know specifically what type of people and what type of help is required. And that will be the best thing you can do.
Cool. All right. I do have a couple more. I'll just catch up on quick before we're done. Bonnie had sent in, I think it's $8 Canadian, and there was a little note, whatever you need it for, with a cool heart and whatnot. So thank you very much, Bonnie, there. Grant had came in with a $65 donation, huge one there, big shout. Thank you very much. And it just says donations. So yeah, I know exactly what we can use that for with everything we got going today. And then last one in was the Killer Rabbit of Karbanog. $5 in. Thank you, Georgie, for the Russian propaganda post. The general, what's his fucking name there? Video was absolutely hysterical. And I'll agree. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was a video of General Zaluzhny. It's not mine. It's like I didn't film it. I wasn't there, obviously. But yes, this is something that I think Starsky has addressed multiple times with Shtosibalam and everything. Is that General Zaluzhny was so dead and so wounded, and he had basically every disease that Putin had, except worse. During the last week, and apparently he's still looking great, doing good for an old man. But the question is, Starsky, how will you cope with your almost dead or already dead and now just apparently communicating with you from the afterlife general?
It's a good question because, they were so convinced, so they even convinced me. And for example, I completely agree that all of his videos that are shown now and pictures, they are not reliable. You cannot trust them 100%. For example, Zaluzhny never shows his belly because there might be scars from multiple surgeries and stuff, maybe implants. Also, he never shows his back. Again, he never shows like his feet because we had information that he was missing limbs and stuff. That's why he never shows, like he's always wearing pants. We didn't see him like without pants and without shirt. I think that would explain a lot. You cannot trust news nowadays. I mean, completely. But again, the biggest question that we still have is что с ебалом Русня? Like what's wrong with your face, Russians? Because your face changed big time during the past 3 days.
Mm.
Again, it tells a lot about this barbaric group of people called Russians, because normal people, they would go, yeah, absolutely, we were wrong. Okay, we admit. Like if you are completely wrong and you understand that you cannot play a good role, like play a bad role with a good face and shit like that, you will just go, okay, guys, you were right, I admit. Okay, I was fooled. At least you can say I was fooled. Yeah, that explains everything. But whenever you start asking Russians this question, so where's General Zaluzhny, motherfuckers? They go, so what's with Bahkmut? And you know, they never answer questions because they even though they understand that they screwed up big time, that everybody is laughing at them, that they turned into a like the biggest joke in the world, they will still keep playing, you know, bad role, attempting to save the face. Not sure how you say it in English. Anyways, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think this is kind of the whole point. It's that they're so detached from reality. They're like living in their own la la land where they are like still the superpower nation, and they just cannot completely reflect on themselves that they are literally becoming a joke. Like you cannot call yourself well, I'm not sure if they even call themselves superpower by this point, and then let a bunch of like what 500 men just sit on a couple of Humvees and drive 10 kilometers into your core territory. And if they wanted, they could drive even more. It's just it wasn't the goal. But you cannot do that and also call your land. You cannot start a campaign and then move all of your troops to the enemy territory and then, well, we still have about the same length of a border, but we're just not going to protect it. It's like, who does that? Who does that? So, yeah.
I think this point, I completely agree with you, bro. And I think at this point, Poland, for example, or any other NATO force can just go and take Moscow directly in 3 days, actually.
They will say they will still retreat to a better positions. Moscow, like they will remember that time with Napoleon, you know, when they left Moscow, and they will remember that happened, and then they were like, yeah, Russia's strong. Oh, they will never catch us in Siberia.
Yeah.
We better get to Claire to help with some shout outs here because dear Lord, we're falling behind quick.
All right, let me help you with that there, Dick. Okay, from level 70, a member for a month for Canadian 13.9. The chat has spoken. The cat shall be named Cotton Cutie. There you go. They spoke, Starsky. We'll have to write that one down. April Crawford has sent in $75 Canadian. Thank you very much, April. If there's a message, just tag us in the chat. 21 grams, a new member for 10. This donation is from Storm Songs in the chat. Slava Ukrainian. Thank you so much. Cisco donated another 2023. Boom Boom Fund for Bahkmut. Slava Ukrainian. From LA Criminal or La Criminal for 10. You should name the cat Huggy Bear to complete the team. Old TV show.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't think of that. That's a good one. Yeah. Oh, Nicholas Galazda has sent in $50 Canadian. A note from Nicholas says drone or whatever helps. Thank you so much. Reiner Robel has sent in $70, 2 cents Canadian. And the note from Reiner is drone fundraiser thank you from Reiner. Thank you for that. Mary Tyson sends in $55 Canadian. Hands off, leave us natives alone, Russia. Very good. I agree. Garth McNeil, a member for 2 months. Zelensky hides his back because it's all machinery. He is actually animated by 3 puppeteers from the Muppet Show. What? Or Zelensky?
It's
No,
3 guys in a coat, obviously.
obviously. Yes, there we go. That's why he looks so tall. And Janine's PayPal update has $248 to date donated today. Thank you very much, everybody. And I think we're caught up there, Dick.
All right. Yeah, I just put Janine's thing back in the chat there, everybody. There's the link again.
Mhm.
And let me just bring this little document up here. I'll slide myself over. And yeah, she's heading to she's going to be doing a whole thing feeding the troops, volunteering with the Magic Food Army.
Mhm.
It says link below, and it actually means it because the link is the first thing in the description. It's impossible to miss. It has been fixed and it is there. It's a great thing. We'll update you just a little bit more on what it's all about here
Mhm.
in a minute. Let me slide things back over there.
Mhm.
Why don't we switch right over to Dave before we have to get caught up again and get the viewers in with some questions for both Starsky and George is here.
Sure thing. Angie,
Yeah.
first and foremost, asks, have they stuck Dave in the cupboard under the stairs again? Yes, they have. Bastards. No, I'm fine. I'm just in the standing booth again. There's quite a few about the kitty, obviously. Raven asks, will the cat you named Fluffy be your new pet? There's another one here. We have general felicitations to the man who said he was a dog person, but has now become a cat daddy. And there's one
Ooh.
more as well from Hellfire. How is the kitty?
So she is fine. I still, well, like 90% sure that I will keep her, but 10% is still not decided. The reason is that I want to keep her at least several months because I want to make sure that she's healthy, that she, becomes stronger a bit, that she has nice appetite and everything, which signals that she's okay and fine and healthy. And then I will decide because, again, I already have a dog. On the other hand, Fudge lived next to cats all his life. When I adopted Fudge, he lived at the horse stables with a bunch of cats and stray dogs. And later in my family, he lived with a cat. So he's completely okay. And actually, I told my friends before the show that he was so excited. So he literally humped all my apartment today, even though he technically cannot do that, but he still did. I don't know how. So probably, yeah, because when you care after a cat or any other pet, you're getting attached to it, and then it's really hard to give it away, to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah,
Again,
that's for sure.
I didn't plan it, guys. I didn't choose it.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't my choice.
The cat chose you. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
how much choice you're going to have now.
That's pretty much how it works. That's for sure.
There was a suggestion in the chat that you call the cat Sushi, but I don't know if you should do that. Like, no, that's tempting Fudge a little too much. you know.
You're not wrong there. Holy.
Mm-hmm.
So we did have a few news articles and stuff we wanted to get to as well.
There is. There was one when you were talking about Bahkmut that I was looking at, and that would be the Wagner mercenary chief put out a statement about their withdrawal from there, and there was quite a bit of dissing in there about the Russian army and about this anti-Russian group that they said was coming over from Ukraine that was going there that was very well equipped and etc. and causing like a whole bunch of shenanigans, so to speak, within and over there. You familiar with any of that, Starsky? You got anything to add there? I found it a humorous article about Priglas. He was making some really harsh digs against the Russian, but he also said that they lost 10,000 men, which was more than half of his force just in Bakhmut alone there. They're just gone. It seems like they're just gone. They're like leaving. That's it. Like they're done, right?
Yeah, Prigozhin is running away because he doesn't want to get killed during the Ukrainian counteroffensive. He's like, we captured Bakhmut, we did everything, so now just let us go. And he's actually like routing basically from Bahkmut. And as for those guys, by the way, those Russians that invaded Russia, I know several guys from those units. One of them is he's actually famous in Ukraine, Ilya Bogdanov. He's a former FSB officer, and in 2014, 2015, there was this very, very hard battle in the area of Donetsk airport. It was held by a small number of Ukrainian soldiers that were called by Russians the cyborgs, actually. And this man is one of the cyborgs. He was fighting there. Basically, he switched sides because he was fed up with all the shit that happens in Russia, and he joined Ukrainian forces. Later, I believe several years ago, FSB made an attempt to kidnap this man, Ilya, and they almost managed to take him to Russia. But the Ukrainian security service intercepted those kidnappers, and they were, I believe, eliminated. And also, why I like Ilya so much is because here in Kiev he has a great restaurant of Oriental cuisine, and as you probably know, I'm into this kind of shit. So
sushi.
yeah, and not only sushi, there's all kinds of like Thai food.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Noodles.
agree, Starsky. They do food so well, don't they?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I learned how to cook Thai rice and noodles, and when I have time, it's just so good. I mean, it makes me happy.
Are we already getting to the food part? But then, because then I have to say something.
We always
Brent-
have to get to the food part. Yes.
We're at
Brendan
the
just
point of no
dropped by my
return,
place.
guys. Go get a cup of tea or something, because it's going to be a long one.
But Brendan just dropped by my place, and then like Brendan is amazing, guys. If you haven't followed Brendan, please see. He's one of the gigolos of this war. A must see. But Brendan is truly amazing, an amazing person, and he said that one of the things that he's missing the most in Ukraine was the Thai food. And unfortunately, he said it at the end of the evening when we already ate. And the thing is, like, I literally learned how to make this Thai curry, like the actual thing with like that you very properly with a pestle and mortar. You take all of the ingredients, and like my Thai friend says, like no one does that. Why? Why? Everyone just either buys pre-made or so on. But the point is that I can make pretty good damn Thai curry. It's like there we go, self-promotion.
sounds good.
Anyway.
Nice.
Whenever we're
Red
going
or
on
green?
that cruise after the war, remind me that I should make a Thai curry on that as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The other day, my dad said that he would like to have a steak, and he cannot have steak because after Chernobyl and all that shit, he has problems with his teeth and stuff. So several days he was talking about steak. Then he said, "Okay, I don't want steak anymore. I want chicken with garlic." And I brought him to some place in Kiev where they serve all kinds of cuisine, chicken and stuff. And I ordered this beautiful shashlik. And I believe we were talking about shashlik in some of the past
Yes.
podcasts. So it was so good. It was so, it was perfectly cooked. It was soft, and it was so soft so even my dad could eat it. And I mean,
Nice.
I couldn't eat anything else until the next day because I was so full.
I need to address something in the comments. Very, very important. People have been asking like about chicken Kiev, and one of the hardest thing whenever anyone tries to make chicken Kiev, guys, and this is a life hack for you. So you try to do it because you need to cut the chicken, you need to tenderize the chicken, and then you need to wrap the butter in it. The problem is quite hard.
Mhm.
So what you can do instead is you can take chicken mince, you put it in between two like what is it, the like plastic foil, and then you even it up, make it nice square, put it in a fridge for a while, not like freeze it, but just make it a little bit cold so that it's easily manageable. And then you put a stick of butter in it, and you just foil the thing around it, and then you make
Oh.
a nice chicken Kiev with the minced chicken, which is a lot easier to work with than just the actual chicken breast. It's a hack for anyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
There you go.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It does
I like
actually.
that.
It
But
sounds
you should
really.
also add butter inside, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, obviously. Like that's the whole point. It's just
Yeah.
you don't wrap it into the actual chicken. You wrap it in the minced chicken because the problem is that a lot of times either when people cut or tenderize the breast, they either make holes in it or they cut it too thin or too thick. They need a lot of practice, and it's like it's a whole thing to learn. When you're working with mince, always like, oh, I have a hole. Squeeze with fingers again, and that's
Mhm.
it. Your mince is
Right.
fixed.
Nice.
Right, because you want to keep the butter inside. That's the whole thing, so that when you cut it open, the butter just like oozes out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it has to just be awesome.
Yeah.
After war, visit Kiev to taste the real thing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to.
Visit
Uh,
Ukraine.
I can't wait
Hashtag.
to. Yeah. Let's see. We've got a few shout outs we can turn to Claire to do, and then we'll turn right over to Dave again for a few more questions from viewers and stuff.
Okay, let me just get right back up there. Okay, from Nelly Cat for it's Hungarian forints, 2000. Thank you very much. There's no message, but if there's one, just tag us in the chat and we'll mention it next time. From OCT, a new member for 20 Australian for the Boom Boom Fun. Thank you very much. Killer Rabbit of Carbon. Jackson Galaxy has some great cat videos if you need help. He got his start here at the local Humane Society. He got a kitten of mine worked out. Well, that's lovely. Thank you for donating and giving us that information. From Vahud for 20 pounds. Prigozhin left Bieber and Dolik like Bolek and Lalek in Bakhmut. Starsky is probably worried now with the looks like a little snarky smile there. I don't know. I probably mangled the names, but I think I get the gist. I don't think
No, I
Starsky
think
looks worried at all.
I think those were the names, but the problem is that they're very close to like there was a Polish cartoon that I was watching when I was little. It was called Lolik and Bolik, I believe it was called,
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
believe
that's what
I
he was
took
saying.
names.
Bolek and Lalik. Yes, he said Bieber like Biber and Dalek like Bolek and Lalik. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. From Secular Sakai, a member for a month, 420. Do either of you believe Erdogan winning will mean Gargazia in Moldova leaning towards Turkey and Russia, or Azerbaijan invading Armenia to complete their land bridge to Turkey? What effect might these have on Ukraine? For either of you, Starsky or Georgie?
Well, currently we all know that Armenia supports Russia and is supported by Russia. There are Russian
Mhm.
bases in Armenia. So a friend of your enemy is your enemy, right?
Mhm. Well, yeah.
In times of war, for sure.
I mean, I mean, it also concerns all other people that live in, for example, European countries, but still say shit about Ukraine. The other day, I met a whole bunch of people that being like peacekeepers, fists and shit like that, and they go, Ukraine must negotiate because your people are dying and we don't want you to die and shit. And then you go, but why don't you talk to Russia about it? Why don't you want Russia to stop this aggression against Ukraine? And then they break and they go, but it was Ukraine that invaded Russia, and Ukraine is corrupted, and it's American who stands against Ukraine, everybody who is rooting for Russia, supporting Russian terrorism and the genocide of the Ukrainian people, they are our enemies. And they don't really understand one thing that I think probably everybody in Ukraine understands, and all the people that support Ukraine, they also understand this, that Russia will not be able to travel, like Russians will not be able to travel around the world as much as previously. They will stay isolated for quite a while, because one of the conditions for removing sanctions from Russia is restoring the international borders, is paying out reparations. Until Russia pays no reparations to Ukraine, it will keep being sanctioned for decades, forever. I don't know. But at the same time, after the war is finished, Ukrainians will be free to travel around the world because we're Europeans. And I believe a lot of angry Ukrainian men would like to ask a lot of questions to those people who wanted them to die. I'm 100% sure that you will be meeting those people in Germany, in France, in the US, in Canada, in other countries, and yes, we will be traveling because we will be happy to meet all the people that supported us, but at the same time we will have a lot of questions to people that rooted for Russia and wanted us to die. I promise you that, because I'm already planning my European trip together with my buddies, with Max, and I'm sure that we will be meeting plenty of those people.
Fucking right.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny, because this is like I like how, and I'm sorry I need to do this, how Andrew Mercado puts about the guys that peaceniks, as he called them. I really like the word. All of
Peaceniks,
those peaceniks, yeah. And I think the important word that I always say now is that what is being skipped when people are talking about peace is the word just. People are completely missing the just peace addition to the word peace, because what a lot of the proposals that a lot of these peaceniks are doing, they're just proposing peace, yes, but it's not lasting peace, and it's not going to be like a fair peace, and it's not going to be a just peace. It's not going to be a peace where people whose families got killed are going to get some kind of justice to be served to the country that invaded, to kill their family, friends. Like, even we were talking about Russia capturing Bahkmut, but there is no Bahkmut anymore. Like, there is no city. Like, whenever people are discussing, like, well, Russia just should keep the territory. Territory is territory. It's not about that. Where it is says in the international law that it is allowed for one country to invade another and destroy its cities, where it says like this, where it says that it's okay to just talk in the international organizations about how the birds and mosquitoes are going to destroy other nations and use that as a provocation to commit genocide. It isn't. So there's a lot more that comes into the what constitutes a just peace, because when we say we're going to be like a ceasefire, like be like these South African countries or like China, wow, like imagine like a crazy plan. No one ever imagined that. right? No one ever thought like, guys, why don't you just stop shooting, and then Russia gets the land, and then it's peace. Hey, what a genius plan! No one ever thought about this, and then they come and then like offer it to the table. Like, sorry, the Pope is like, yeah, guys, yeah, why don't you just stop shooting and like peace on you? And that's where the peace part is actually relevant, because the part that needs to be discussed is the just part, because that is what defines peace, if it's going to be lasting, if it's going to be fair, and if it's going to define the world, and how it's going to define the world that we're living in. Because if you commit to peace, if the world commits to peace, as these peaceniks are proposing, what we are saying is that the international laws doesn't matter, that whoever has the right has the right, and therefore genocide and murders can be committed. We're going to be living in a lot more dangerous world going forward. There is a lot more at stake here, and the fact that people are just completely ignoring the just part is pissing me off.
Oh yeah, big time, bro. And also where in the international legislation it is said that an old fart can just take a look at the map of the 17th century Europe and say, there's no Ukraine, so we can have it, even though he's fucking blind because he missed a huge title saying Ukraine, land of Cossacks. I think that Putin, being a KGB spy and serving for years in Germany, is a fucking bullshit because he doesn't read Latin letters at all. And as for the peaceniks, they are full of shit because recently Russians proposed a list of conditions for Ukraine to stop this war, and they demand Ukraine to stop defending itself. They demand Europe and other countries to stop supporting Ukraine with weapons and things like that. They also demand Ukraine to cancel membership in the EU and NATO, even though we're not members yet. And they also demand us to give up territory. And that's exactly the same sort of bullshit that all the peaceniks are talking about. It's completely the same. They will never negotiate. They will never call Russia to stop invading Ukraine, to stop this aggression. They will never do that. They will do everything they can to support Russia, because this flag that I have here, the flag that my bro there has behind his back, that is the most despised and hated flag by those motherfuckers. That's fact. That's why they're full of shit. At the same time, those conditions proposed by Russia, I think it's very important because for the first time, Russians are actually talking about things that they are afraid of. They are afraid that Ukraine will keep defending itself. They are afraid that the world will keep supporting Ukraine with weapons. They are afraid that Ukraine will join European Union and NATO. And I'm not sure about NATO, though, because from
Why so?
like for all those years that I remember myself, even though Ukraine implemented a lot of reforms in the army and stuff, we were never invited and never accepted into NATO. I mean, all kinds of speakers from NATO in 2015, 2016, 2017, they were all saying that not in the nearest century Ukraine will join NATO. And I'm sure that you remember that as well. Nobody ever said that, yes, Ukraine will be accepted like tomorrow. Not even in 2020. But at the same time, why NATO is not really important for Russia. It's Ukraine joining European Union, because it means that Ukraine will become more successful than isolated and despite dog shit called terrorist federation. Because this is something they cannot stand. They cannot imagine those uber humans, right? Those unterhumans, untermenschen, that they always despised, suddenly becoming a successful nation, successful country with tens of millions of friends around the world. It will destroy them psychologically. So that's why they hate it so much. And of course, territories and other shit, they're very afraid of losing everything they achieved in Ukraine, even though they already lost, I believe, majority of those territories they captured, because again, Russia doesn't have any control over any of the 22 major cities in Ukraine. If you are winning the war, it means that you at least managed to capture majority of those major cities. Okay, at least 11, but they have 0, and they lost Kherson that they controlled since the beginning of the invasion. They lost it in order to take Bahkmut, which proves that we are blessed to fight with imbeciles, basically.
I think you're right in the most part, but I got really bad flashbacks with my discussions with my wife, as funny as it is. And I think you're severely underestimating the role that Ukraine has played during the last year for the world and NATO in large. So I believe you are underestimating just the impact and the severity of that impact that Ukrainian people has had on NATO and European countries and whatnot. I don't think that there is an actual reasonable discussion about whether Ukraine joined NATO. I think it's more like if before it was like, yes, technically Ukraine could join NATO, but there was not political will. So right now the situation is completely on its head. Now there is definitely a political will, but there might be, some countries that try to oppose it, ergo like Hungary and so on. But what we've seen that even like something like,
Just a sound effect in the background. Go on. Go on.
Well, what a timing.
I didn't know it was
With the
good. I was supposed to be
animation too.
quieter, yeah.
Nice. Yes. Oh my God. But the point is that Ukraine is dictating the world essentially like what is it, agenda. It's dictating what's happening in the world right now. And it's going to be dictating after the victory, because Ukraine is going to have the victorious state with all the benefits. And I know the cost of it. Like let's not forget, obviously, the amount of sacrifice that Ukraine has did as a nation. But these sacrifices will come with gains for Ukraine. Ukraine is going to be, especially in a tandem with Poland and the Baltic nations, and we know that Nordics are also supporting. That is a massive block of political will. It's a massive block of political will in Europe. So I feel that the political will of getting Ukraine into NATO is there. So now it's just finding a technical way how to do it. That is one thing. And secondly, NATO itself, in a big kind of picture, is in debt to Ukraine because it revived the whole organization. The organization was questioned if it should exist at all, period. And now it's once again, one of the most powerful blocs. And now there is discussion of even closer cooperation between NATO and AUKUS. So essentially expanding NATO's influence also to Pacific, which would be incredibly influential. So I feel that you're right, that there was a very bad blood history, that there was a lot of realpolitik that was more geared towards Russia. Fair enough. But Ukraine has put itself in a position that it's an actual player. And if it's not going to be squandered, if you're not going to be listening to a lot of the peaceniks and people that's going to try to appease and buy into corruption and to people that speak loudly and pretty, then Ukraine can literally change the face of how Europe and the world will look like in the coming decades and more. So,
Yeah, I think it's not only because of Ukraine. I think it's a result of a joint effort. Absolutely. Because again, we all underestimated ourselves a lot. I'm not talking about Ukrainians, I'm talking about free world in general. And not only we underestimated ourselves, but also Russia underestimated everybody big time. So what we have now and what we'll have in the future is a result of a joint effort of civilized world. It sounds, very loud, but
It's
I like
true.
it.
Yeah.
At the same time, there are some concerning tendencies in Europe and in the US, because we can see signs of the hybrid warfare launched by Russia in countries like Czech Republic, Slovakia, Germany, and the United States as well, because there are anti-NATO movements that were activized recently, and I talked about it several months ago in some of my videos dedicated to the hybrid warfare, that if you are a NATO country, you will see this. You will see movements emerging here and there, calling to cancel the NATO membership, and then you will see Russian peacekeepers on your territory, and then you are screwed. And basically, we can see the first phase of this hybrid operation. Basically, there are anti-NATO movements that, of course, don't support Ukraine, that, of course, support this peaceful and democratic Russian terrorist federation. It pisses me off so much when they say that Russia is democratic. Russia is ruled by the same fucking old fart for 20 years.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
What-
that's not the will of the people. There's no freaking way.
Well, if talking about hybrid warfare, I can quote only the famous old Austro-Hungarian philosopher Steve Irwin, that if there is no Russia, there is no hybrid warfare.
Yeah. And I would like to quote another famous Steve Irwin. Friends, tonight I will show you a crocodile.
Up close and personal.
He was a legendary guy. I mean,
Oh yeah.
recently I saw a documentary on Steve Irwin. He was so good. I saw all of his episodes. I mean, he was my idol for so many years.
I thought he was awesome too.
I
he was a
learned
really cool
I
cat.
learned Australian accent because of this guy.
That's cool. Let's turn to Claire now, and we'll get our shout outs all caught up, and then we'll see what the viewers are up to.
Okay, from Alms, $10 directly to the Boom Boom Fund. Thank you so much. From Jay Plowdom, gifted several memberships. Thank you very much. I don't see the names, but you can look back in the chat. Thank you Thank you to Jay Plowdom for that. Rhino Robo has sent in $70 Canadian. And the note is definitely for the drone fundraiser. Again, from Reiner. Susan Osborne, he sent in $13.05 Canadian for the Boom Boom Fund. We're having a lot of Explosion Fund donations here today. Secular Sakai, a member, with another question. Can Turkey nudge, I think that's Gagazia, towards support for Ukraine or of Ukraine? Either of you, Starsky, Georgie? Can Turkey nudge them towards support for Ukraine? I believe it says Gagazia.
Gagauzia?
Yeah, Gagauzia. I'm probably mangling.
Was it in Moldova? No.
Well, there was a question before about Moldova, but now it says, can Turkey nudge them towards support.
Yeah, it's Moldova. Is it not Moldova? Like, is it not
Yeah.
part of the Transnistria? Like, there was some of it. Like, I'm not completely sure. Like, if that is what is meant. But I also, because we had also questions about Georgia in that region. Was it maybe something in Caucasus? I'm not sure which is meant. If it's Georgia, not, if it's like Georgian region, well, Georgia right now is battling basically what the civilian society want and what the government want, because the government
Yeah.
is completely pro-Russian, and they want to turn Georgia into Belarus 2.0.
Yeah.
Georgian people were fighting, and they did a couple of successful things, but kind of like the fight didn't stop. So the government is still going. So we're going to see how it's going to develop. Azerbaijan is a dictatorship. Azerbaijan generally supports Ukraine. Like the relationship are quite warm. So there shouldn't be an issue there. Armenia was not supporting Ukraine for the most part, except for people, but Armenia was heavily dependent on Russia because of the conflict in between them and Azerbaijan. And now it turned out in a recent meeting of the what is it, their own little NATO, let's put it this way, I forgot the name, and they just found out that Russia and Azerbaijan actually had already agreements on about how Azerbaijan can make a corridor through the territory of Armenia. So they are now a little bit of a like there is an unspoken, very hateful agreement. So Armenia has ended up as a butt of the whole joke of the situation. They are in a losers because they thought that Russia will come and save them, but instead Russia said, "Well, you're losers. We're just gonna help the other guys because then they will not support Ukraine in our conflict." And now Armenia is without allies basically, so they don't have anything good going for them because they're trapped in between Turkey, where now we're gonna find out. Is it tomorrow? Is it tomorrow the second election date? The runoff for Turkey's elections.
Real
Yeah, I
close.
guess so.
I'm not. I think it's in a day or two. I'm not sure if it's tomorrow.
Yeah, so basically in the coming days, we're going to find out whether Turkey is going to continue being a dictatorship and then it's going to be whatever Erdogan thinks, or it's going to become, again, a proper democratic republic, because the opposition leader is quite clear where he wants to put the group. And if we're talking Moldova, to kind of round it off, if it was potential, Moldova has the issue that Moldova has literally no military. They have literally they're in an even worse situation than Ukraine was in 2014, even comparatively the size. Like if we put the size, I'm pretty sure Moldova doesn't really have the forces to retake, for example, Transnistria region, but also there is quite a lot of population in South Moldova itself proper that were living on the Russian propaganda, like so-called Vatniks. And there is a lot of Vatniks in Moldova, and there is a lot of Vatnik party, essentially like a party of regions. There was a party like that in Ukraine, and basically they have their own party of regions where they kind of totally forgot that there was a region already occupied by Russia, and now it's difficult. So right now Moldova is not in a position to dictate to the Vatniks anything because propaganda is there. So best possible answer to all of these questions is if Russia is gone and Russian influence is gone, then the proper kind of democratic powers can come in and like make situation for the better.
Thank you very much.
Around the globe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that covers it quite fully, I think. There from Carson Larimore, 14. After Ukraine wins, imagine all the other former USSR satellite countries. See how weak Russia is. Not only Ukraine will have a great future ahead, so will they. Well said. Thank you. From unnamed agency in an undisclosed location, also for $5. Screw peace. Let's whack some Russians. Okay. From level 70, a member for a month for $13.99 Canadian. When Ukraine is successfully evicting the Russian invaders from Ukraine, how will peace be forced on the Russians? It's clear they don't want to negotiate.
I'm pretty sure they have bigger problems right now. Didn't we discuss that this week something happened with Russia?
With Russians? Yeah.
Yeah. There were some Russians that were not that happy with Putin. I'm pretty sure, but I might have missed it. I don't know.
Yeah, either that or they just got slap happy with lighters or so, whatever. But yeah.
Rick
Yeah,
Sanchez.
they will have a lot
Okay.
of problems to solve because the war won't stop with just Russian troops withdrawing from the Ukrainian territory and promising never to attack and stuff, because there are still thousands of Russians that are not satisfied with Putin, and that not only Putin, a lot of people like Prigozhin, Kadyrov, they are so unsatisfied with those assholes, and they will have to solve a lot of problems after that anyways.
Oh. Yeah. It just because memories are long and history is documented. It was just not going to just go away. It's going to be a long time there. From Rick Sanchez, a new member who's also gifted a membership to the Shills. Thank you very much. And Aussie T has gifted another 5 memberships to the Shill. Thank you so much, Aussie T. And then we are caught up. So back to you, Dick.
Oh, I'll take that one. He's off.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah, let's get some
there you
questions in
go.
anyway. Yeah.
Yes, good idea.
We,
Sorry.
No, that's absolutely fine. I've got a bit yellow. Don't worry. Just the lighting's that changed. I
Yeah,
haven't
look at a little
caught
John.
anything.
You're all right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay,
Thanks for
good.
caring.
That's okay.
So why are we whispering?
Get to the questions,
To
Dave. Knock it
confirm.
off. Come on.
Shut up, God. Turkey's election is tomorrow. It does say it's Sundays.
Yes, presidential. Yeah.
Just as Dick jumps back in, I'm sure that before we get to that question, or maybe just after that question, it's worth reminding people the difference between all these different donations. Of course, we've had a lot of supers come in, but we haven't had very many questions from me. If you want your question asked, it's much quicker to go through the supers, but even better if you go through the Streamlabs. And I'm sure Dick, at some point, once he's ready, will be able to define the difference. Until then, we've got a point here from KLW World News. What can you tell us about Dnipro? I traveled to Ukraine at their request back in January 2014 and trained their troops as well as supplied military equipment to the troops.
Probably you mean Dnipro 1 battalion?
Quite possibly. Not
If
sure.
it's about the Dnipro 1 battalion, those guys are still operating. And by the way, my bro Bogdan, the one that was recently released from the Russian captivity, before joining my brigade, he served in Dnipro 1, and they participated in the anti-terrorist operation in like 2014, 15, 16. So those are the unit is still operational, and they are still fighting. They keep fighting. Those are great guys.
Yeah, David mentioned their super chats and the Streamlabs. The only real difference is Google takes a 30% or YouTube takes a 30% cut, and then Google takes a tax off of it as well before they pay you out. And quite a bit of it ends up going to the platform provider. Whereas with the Streamlabs donation, I think we lose about 8.5 to 9.25% or something in the end. And there's a lot more money that goes directly over then. It's a shame that we can't get the Streamlabs one to give the colorful chat shout out in the live chat that the super chat does, but the platform won't let us, right? There's nothing we can do. But that's the difference. And then again, I think with the direct PayPal, I think we lose even less, but it's pretty similar, pretty similar.
You can like, I mean, like, you have a whole setup, right? So you can just have a pop-up notification, not in chat, but on the screen for the people to see it. That can work.
Yeah, well, we have a scroll that goes across that sort of explains it, but it seems I better reword it because I guess it's not as good as I thought it was. And The Canadian in me doesn't like doing the whole please like, share, and subscribe.
Like,
as
share,
it
and
is,
subscribe
right?
this stream right now. Subscribe to the Shills, subscribe to Operator Starsky, subscribe to myself, because you need to support supporters of Ukraine. You need to support people that are delivering the correct message, and you need to support me. There you go.
Good job, man. You are a shill. That was amazing.
Well done, Georgie.
Georgie needs a cat.
I can't have a cat. I'm allergic.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny. So, I guess we were going to Dave for some more questions then, correct?
Oh, sure. There's one there from Raven. Now, I don't know if his name was mentioned earlier, but what do you know about Prigozhin's political aspirations in Russia? I'm sure we might have even had that question a few weeks ago.
Prigozhin's aspiration in Russia?
Yeah.
Political aspirations.
I think it stems from the I've noticed this before. It stems from people misunderstanding the role of Prigozhin, because he's a very, very public in this war context. So a lot of people see him, and a lot of people think that he has some kind of really big place in Russia, that he's some kind of top tier gangster. Well, he's not. I'm going to break it to you simply. It's actually a good point to address that he is not a very, very top tier. He is just one of many. I don't even know how to say shesтерka. It's like, how would you say it, Andrew? It's
It's like, my God, it's like omega males.
Yeah, something like this. So
in the mafia.
Yeah, precisely. So, but he really wants to kind of elevate his position. So he is dirt. He is literally like nothing in the Russian political system. He has no influence. He was in catering. He was a serviceman. Like in service is like you're not getting into elites from service, because Putin's rule is like a king's court, right? If you're serving, you're not aristocracy. But Prigozhin really wants to become aristocracy. So he's trying to leverage his position and his current state and his ability to influence the media narratives right now to get into that aristocratic position, essentially, if that's worth thinking for you. Like, he is nothing. He is so far away from any kind of if we're talking, unless there is a revolution and there's an armored conflict, then because he has an armored army, then he can, yes, that in that situation, correct. But if it's like, if we just take a current situation and his current political influence, it's non-existent. Like, because public will in Russia, there is the court, the aristocracy, and these guys.
Yeah, if he's using the media, they kind of turned on him a little bit, publicizing that article recently when they left Bahkmut about how he feels about Russia in general. How you going to be aristocrat over there while you're dissing them in an article about and leaving like that? I mean, it was pretty strong. It sounded actually anti-Russian, all of his statements that he was making about it. At least that's how the article read. The media would be portraying it that way. Yeah.
You see, the problem with Prigozhin, and I'm talking about the Russian problem with Prigozhin, is that Prigozhin is not as controllable as regular generals, and specifically because he's so public, he will not, grow to become aristocracy in Russia. But he's not part of the team that has the same agenda in terms of information, that spread the same messages. He's not part of the club anymore.
Because
he was, yeah,
this
but
is
he's
the same
not
man who's the head of the mercenary group Wagner, right? Like, this is that guy, the same guy.
Yeah, he's the head of the mercenary group Wagner, and his main let's say his main role all those years was to conduct operations in Africa and seize the sources, those gem mines things like that, and bring them to Russia.
Mhm.
And because Putin cannot control him as well as much as he can control other generals and other oligarchs and Russian elites that adopted his style of sharing all that Russia's bullshit. That's why he's out of the club, basically. So people like Prigozhin, people like Girkin, they are Russists, but they are not like elite Russists. They are outcast Russists. They will not share the same bullshit, the same informational agenda as Putin and his closest persons and supporters and oligarchs and all those ministers and stuff. But they are still terrorists.
Yeah.
There you go.
Starsky, something we didn't bring up when it comes to Janine's fundraiser, which I will drop the link for right now. Oh, shoot, I have the wrong thing in copy and paste mode. Don't you hate it when you just fuck something like that up completely, you know? Pooch screwed. There we go. The patch Starsky.
The patch.
Yeah. What am
the
I'm
top donator. What happens to the person who donates the most? I think that was the point. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the damn thing? I was given some text about this, and it's one of the things that's really screwing up for me in the background. You guys don't really know it, but right now this show is only barely holding together by a fucking thread.
Like the Russian army.
Yeah. Dear
nice.
God.
Nice.
But
Nice.
isn't it like a signed patch from where is it? God damn it! I wish it did this to me the other day too, and all the fonts going all screwy, and I can't figure this out. Okay, well, here we'll have to come back to it in a second because I'm going to get somebody to put something in the little green room for me
I think it
because
was something.
I can read in there. Just
It was
not the
something
other
along
one.
the line of the highest donator to Janine's fund getting a
Guys,
getting a patch.
it doesn't matter. I will do whatever it takes to please the highest donator. I can even send a cat.
An
got
open
your first
statement.
gigolo contract.
An
Now you
open
got your
statement
first
like
gigolo
that
gig.
should do well for increasing the donations here. You really just said you would do anything for the top donator live on YouTube. Like
That's very, very dangerous.
yes.
Have you considered OnlyFans?
It's okay. I already agreed to become a gigolo for Brandon. So
Oh, there you go. It's a free cat and gigolo services. Here we go. Okay. I think you better take it, Dave. It's running away.
Yeah.
Nah, you're good. Fair. All right.
Okay,
Fine. You're there.
let me rephrase
I'll
that.
save you.
Please take it, Dave. It's running away. How's that?
That's all right. William has asked, this coming Monday, 29th of May, the US remembers its military dead and calls it Memorial Day. Is there a similar day when the Ukraine remembers and honors their war dead?
yeah, I think it's on 8th of May. We have a Memorial Day on a fixed date. It's 8th of May. I think we already talked about it, that when Ukraine was ruled by pro-Russian assholes like Yanukovych, we used to celebrate Victory Day together with the Russians on 9th of May. And I don't know what kind of God to thank for this. Buddha, Allah, Jesus Christ, whatever, Odin. I'm so glad that we're not doing that anymore. I'm the happiest person in the world because it was so cringy and it was the source for all kinds of memes in the Ukrainian internet in those times, and I'm so glad that I don't have to be like, oh shit, I'm not with those guys. So we have this Memorial Day on May 8th of May each year. It's a fixed date of defeating Nazi and basically the Memorial Day to memorize all the victims that lost their lives.
Fun fact, something that people don't know in the West, because we consider that Russia has been like this forever, but people that are seeing the Victory Day celebration parade on the 9th of May in Russia think that it has been going on forever, but it actually was started by President Yeltsin, supposedly the democratic president of Russia, and literally it started going in this scale, into this form since 1995. So it's not a long year multicultural tradition from the Soviet times. It's actually a purely Russian invention.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when my grandpa was alive, back in the Soviet times, the way they celebrated it was completely different because my grandpa would gather other veterans from his regiment, his tank regiment, and they would sit in the same room. It was nothing like celebration. I can completely feel them because, for example, the end of the Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity, even though we basically won over our dictator and all the pro-Russian forces in Ukraine, but at the same time, we will never celebrate it as a victory day for Ukraine because we lost a lot of people. And it's anything else but but victory and celebration and all that crazy shit that you can see Russians doing on this day. Absolutely the same was back then when the veterans were still alive, because currently I believe several people are still alive, several people that participated in the war actually. Back then, 30 years ago, they would just gather in the room. They had a quiet conversation, and what they talked about, it was just so terrifying that I understand why they never celebrated it. They were dragged, to some events organized by the Communist Party and those pioneers, the equivalent for like Boy Scouts in the U.S. But same stuff. Only those are communists. They would give them like some medals, read poems about Lenin and shit. But they never really celebrated this, this day. This day, it was like a day of relief, actually, not the celebration. I will be drinking like a pig, though, when Putin dies. I don't care.
I would rather celebrate the day of Putin's death than or the day that he will be sentenced to life in prison by the court in Hague, which would be preferable, obviously, for me. But as we know the history and how organizations like Mossad started,
Right.
Unfortunately, justice comes in different ways.
Yeah. Sometimes good guys come with the bad intentions.
Yeah, for sure. But I remember very well, like when my grandma was still alive, and she was basically telling me, like, "Oh, I just hope war never again war, just anything but never again the war." And it was literally every year, every time.
Yeah. Oh, so in the background here, I've got the information now, and what's being set up is the highest donator to Janine's fundraiser to get to Ukraine to be able to help serve food to the brave heroes on the front lines. There's going to be a personalized signed postcard and a patch that goes to the highest donator. So yeah, all being set up and whatnot now. And, that makes it just that little bit more special for you, right?
Yeah, so remember I said that I can do anything to please the highest donator. Now you can disregard what I said. And yes, it's
Footnote.
the postcard and the patch.
Okay.
You didn't
Yeah.
hear anything.
That's right. Footnote amended.
The internet remembers, Starsky.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
The
that's
internet
not
does. I doesn't. I'm an old man.
Yeah, they'll clip it out of context. You should get a few proposals pretty soon. Yes,
There will be no nudity in said postcard. Just remember this, people. Come on now. Keep it clean.
But guys, we've got $5,000 in the past 5 minutes. God, honestly, misleading people.
It's okay, Starsky. Just start with hands and feet shots. Like, don't give it all out right away. Okay. Just start with hands and feet.
Feet is actually like you need to kind of get to it.
Yeah.
Feet is the important part. You cannot start with this.
Start with
No one
hands.
starts.
Start with the hands. Okay.
How many videos have you seen? Like, why do I know about this?
I was going to ask you, Georgie, but I was going to wait. Dave, I'm sure you have more for us, yes?
Oh, do you need saving again? All right,
Yes,
fine.
throw me a rope. Throw us all a rope.
Just me just sitting there at the top of the mountain, you keep falling off. Andy's going to let you fall.
Well, unfortunately, not like the other panelists that are gentlemen and would catch me. But you could, throw a question out here. Would be good. Would be good. Damn Englishmen, let's go. Come on.
You know why they're gentlemen? It's because they don't interrupt the viewers' questions. How much do we have? We need an update on the actual drone total. Do we have a total number yet?
At this point, there's no way I could give an accurate total because I'm juggling 3 different places they're coming in from with different amounts. None of the services giving me the running total thing is working at the moment, and I'm literally scared to refresh a browser window because everything could drop. My computer's running really hard right now, and for what I'm doing, it shouldn't. And there's really bad things going on in Windows in my life. I'm literally going to rebuild the operating system from scratch starting Monday.
See you in 3 weeks.
We love it.
That's like the famous last words.
Brilliant. We do have one here from our very own M2M. Does Starsky and Georgie think the rebellion in Belgorod will turn into anything bigger, or will it just be limited to a localized rebellion? Sorry if this has already been asked. That's right, Matt. No worries.
Bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
Bigger and
it
bigger.
will burn. Yeah. Right. So Russians were waiting for a sign, actually. And I'm not talking about famous Russian opposition that ran away to Europe and currently they are just sitting there receiving, political shelter and basically, living life. Okay. I'm talking about people that can actually do something, but they needed a sign from Jesus Christ. Here's the sign. There are people with weapons ready to fight for you and ready to fight together with you. So I'm sure that more and more people will join them, especially when the situation starts degrading, because currently this slow phase of development turns into a phase when everything just collapses all at once. And this phase is currently accelerating towards this margin. So more and more people will join them. Basically, the partisans during this press conference, they said that they were approached by local people in Belgorod that offered them that they can bring rifles, those hunting rifles or shotguns, and join them. Plus, you can see all those mysterious fires starting here and there in Russia, some specific, places on the Russian railway set on fire and things like that. And you can only see.
Oh, you just froze on us for a second, buddy.
I think that.
Oh, come on, teams. You can hold it together.
Don't fall apart.
Yeah, come on. Holy shit. Okay, we got you back?
You sure?
Yeah, now we do.
Oh, okay. Because I was saying it's probably Russian hackers who don't want people to see my feet, you know.
Well, I mean, it would start a merchandise frenzy, right? Because people would want sandals that were your feet so that they could have their feet with your feet all day. Oh, I'm getting into some kink here. Well, we'll move on and see what the viewers have to say.
Sure thing. We also have a slight tone change as well here from Raven. Both for particularly Starsky, but Georgie as well. How is your mental health? Experiencing any PTSD symptoms, or just to extend that out, have you had to sort of deal with anybody sort of coming back from front lines and recently, and they're particularly traumatized?
We're all screwed. I already got a cat. It tells everything. I mean,
oh man, yeah.
Actually, yeah, we will all need help, and not only Ukrainians. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we often we typically get at least a few comments every week saying, well, why are we joking about serious topics? It's because we're trying to balance people's lives here. We can't just be serious all the time,
So one thing people should understand about Ukrainians is that Ukrainians will joke forever, even like while dying. Like, while dying, they will be like, "Why long faces, losers?" Ah,
Yeah.
It
It's
will
like gallows
happen.
humor. Yeah.
Yeah, because Ukrainians are natural-born trolls forever. That's something you should know about Ukrainians. It's our national feature. We were known as trolls. We were famous for this. There are multiple. My God, it's like different nations are different. Like we are all the same, but we have like some features, right? There are very calm Nordic people, like Georgie, for example. Until he starts ranting about Russians, and stuff. There are very, let's say, expressive people living in like Latin countries, Middle Asia, and stuff. Ukrainians are freaking trolls. We will laugh at people we hate. We will laugh at them, and as soon as those people try to do something against Ukraine, first thing we will do is we will destroy them psychologically. That's why the Russian flagship was sent to the place where it was supposed to screw itself. That's why Russian soldiers were offered sunflower seeds and all that kind of shit. It's a Ukrainian national feature, guys. First thing we do, we destroy our enemies psychologically, because we make fun of them, and they hate us for this. First thing Ukrainians did when Putin invaded Ukraine in 2014, annexing Crimea and Donbass, Ukrainians gave him the best nickname you can freaking imagine, because Putin will go down in history with this nickname, and I'm talking about Huilo, right? Can you name any like leader, any president of a leading country that will go down in history as a fucking cockhead? That's it, and that's one of the reasons why Putin wants us to die, why he wants to kill us, because that's all. It's fixed. It's in the internet, in history books. It's everywhere. So that's something that you had to know about Ukrainians.
Yeah, and
Makes
if I'm not wrong, like, and you can correct me on this, Starsky, wasn't Odessa like the capital of humor in the USSR?
Oh yeah, I believe so. Odessa has this very very specific humor because people in Odessa are, let's say, very educated, majority of people, because Odessa is mostly populated by Jewish people, and Jewish people in Ukraine, they are very very educated. They are can compare, I would say, to British humor in a way, probably. It's very specific to Odessa, to specifically Odessa Oblast in Ukraine. So Odessa, and later, of course, Kryvyi Rih, because our president was born there, and one of the districts of Kryvyi Rih became famous in Ukraine because this is the way his comedy group was called, the 95th district.
Yeah. It's actually like that's what you expect from Ukrainians to get, like, it's not my joke, but so I'm gonna steal it anyway. Is like that's what you expect from Ukrainians to get what is it called? To get a comedian to make a joke out of Putin.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. I know we've got some super chat action and whatnot to shout out. So let's let Claire have a turn here, and we'll get ourselves all caught up because we're getting close on time as well.
No, okay, thank you. From Cinnamon for $50 Canadian, right for the Boom Boom Fund, of course. Thank you, Cinnamon. Cindy Mitchell, a new member, welcome to Shills Master, and also a donation of $11 for the fund. For the Boom Boom Fund, directly from Silver Earth, I stand firmly with Ukraine. Nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. Slava Ukrainia. For $32.64 Canadian. Thank you very much. From okay. From Putin sucks fat PP, donated $10. Okay. I guess they just wanted me to say the name. Thank you very much. For Commander 401. For Commander 401 for 10. Ukrainian troops accounted for the largest number of losses of soldiers of any country that was part of the USSR. Thank you for that information. Another donation here for 2023 Canadian from Francisco Fuentes. Thank you very much. From Calvin Ludwig, another 10, American. Thank you very much. And $30 from Eric, another American donation. Thank you very much. Secular Sakai, a member, for a month. Another donation in the mentioning that trolls or equal to orcs, Slava Ukraini. Okay, from Sam W. Hello, New Zealand, $8.99. Lots of hearts. Thank you, Sam. Commander 401, a member again, over a year. Another donation. Vladimir Putin's head is shaped like a wanker. Ukrainians couldn't help but point that out. Oh. Well, I'm going to leave it on that one. There, we're caught up.
Oh, that was good. That was good. We're about to hit a magic number, 6,969 subs. Oh yeah, 69, okay. 69. It's yeah, you only get there once, right? So cool. There is okay, Secular Sakai just came in with a $2 super chat there. Greater than not equal.
Thank you. Thank you for the correction. Yes.
Yes. Awesome. We are like just wrapping on time here. So it would seem to me we should do one last big shout out to support Janine, who's heading over to Ukraine to volunteer, well, here, you know what? I can actually put their link in as well. They're called the Magic Food Army. And Janine's going to be volunteering with them. It's a world-renowned chef, and he's the caliber of like a Gordon Ramsay cat in Ukraine. And he's put together a team, and they, serve up all kinds of good stuff and headed out to like the front lines or very near the front lines. Like it all sounds kind of risky, to be honest. So I think it's got to be very close. And, imagine like, you're one of the heroes of Ukraine. You're right up there fighting in some nasty situation stuff. And instead of ripping open one of those, what do you call them, MREs, somebody shows up with an actual freaking meal. Oh, that must be a good moment indeed. So it's a great thing. We should do all we can to help her get there and make sure that heroes are well fed. So, yeah, we're dropping the link right now. Everybody, let's get on it. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, they were one of the first ones that entered the Kherson after Kherson got liberated. When the Russians took everything from Kherson, there was like no places to cook. There was no places like to set up any kind of meal. Like the distribution of food was still kind of poor because Russians like destroyed electricity, gas, everything. So these guys, they were the ones that entered Kherson and started actually feeding people over there. So
very
really,
cool.
really nice guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, let's just take it around the room quick and see what everybody's got to say and shill for themselves at the end of the show here. Let's start with yourself. Claire, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking, thank you very much, gentlemen, for another great show. It's always nice to be a part of this and get the real information to help me understand some of these articles I'm reading that just sound like bullshit. I always feel much better after I hear Starsky or Georgie tell me, yes, Claire, you're right. Like, that's bullshit. Like, that's good. To get a clue there, the way the media is putting things out. Well, I do appreciate it. And also your great humanitarian efforts with the cat kind of warmed my heart there, Starsky. They're really awesome fighter for your country and keeping all the good news out there. But they're one of the kindest people. I think to see that side of you is quite warming. And the cat chose well, let me just say. And it's always nice to be here with you guys, even if you insist on bringing Dave every week. I can, because I actually truly do like Dave. I don't care. So stay out of my DMs, people. It's all, it's supposed to be funny. Like I actually like the guy. So, all right. Okay. Yeah.
And to counter, we have Dave.
You know what? This there is one question that we got asked last week and we didn't get round to it, and we've not got round to it again. So we're going to get round to it, and it should be a short answer. And it is about food, so it's fine. Ukrainians like pork. Is there an event or custom about ending the pig's life and process the carcass? Because here, I don't know where here is, it's a kind of folk tradition, pig killing, with lots of pelinka. Interesting. Thanks, Cat.
So in Ukraine, it's a part of our culture. So there is a specific man, for example, in the village. There are several households that keep pigs, and eventually, for example, there is a wedding or something like that, and a lot of guests are expected. That's why they need to kill the pig and cook a lot of meat and all kinds of amazing dishes of Ukrainian cuisine made from pork. There's a lot of them. Including like sausages made of blood and buckwheat, including salo, anyways. So there is a specific man that is specifically trained for eliminating pigs, ending their lives. And he's like a samurai of killing pigs, because he can do it very fast with a one motion, with a single motion. Those people are called kolii in Ukrainian. Kolii is the dude who does this, who kills the pig. And my grandpa was one of them. So basically, he knew how to, exterminate the pig in one motion very quickly, so it doesn't feel pain and stuff. And it's like part of the culture. I'm not sure why specifically pigs, but I've heard one theory. It's when Ukraine was occupied by, I believe, Ottoman Empire back in those days, and the soldiers of the Ottoman Empire, they would take domestic animals from Ukrainian villages because they needed to feed their soldiers. That's when Ukrainians decided to keep pigs because Ottoman soldiers don't eat pork. And that's why they turned pigs into like Ukrainian national cuisine, basically. Like Ukrainian national cuisine is based on pork.
Nice.
I personally, sounds like a great. I can do that diet. No problem, no problem at all. There was a little thing here from Janine herself that I just wanted to read out quick before we are completely done and let our most excellent rest of the panel here say goodbye. But this is from Janine herself. She's got like a humanitarian heart with a desperate need to serve and do good. And I'm going to speak for her now because I don't want to switch I to her and all this the whole time I'm reading. It's going to fuck my brain up. And I feel that by volunteering with Magic Food Army, it will help me do something good in this way, giving energy and fuel in the form of nutritious food and meals to the soldiers who have to face the orcs and, help win the war faster. We all know the military run on their stomachs. So if the soldiers don't get it, well, they're lacking in morale and energy, which impacts the way they think, too, is in combat, which is absolutely true, and can lead to more unnecessary deaths. And as myself once said, Ukraine is the front line for freedom, and everybody needs to help. And this is going to be Janine's way of helping in Ukraine. Her duties will be she'll be in a team working at the base in a non-disclosed location, so don't bother asking, for security reasons and all, of course, and cooking meals for the frontliners, as well as cooking meals for special forces who eat at the base. It's a 2-week rotation, so on rotation, be on location, and then 2 weeks out, 2 weeks in and stuff. It's not cheap to get there from one part of the world to another. So here is the link again. We'll get it in the chat. Oh my God, I don't have it to copy and paste, and I moved everything. Let's get the link into the chat here, and you all know why it's such a good thing. I have a super chat I'll catch up on quick here. Holly Oblation, $20 super chat. No message there. You can toss one in if it didn't let you or whatever. Tag me in the chat there. But yeah, let's go to our most excellent second-time guest, and we hope he comes around so much more. It's Georgie from Ukraine Matters. What do you think, buddy?
I mean, it's excellent. I love it. We already had a little bit of a talk before the show that I really, really miss that I don't have now conversations with a lot of friends, mostly because I moved to another city to do work. And basically my life was work and then I got the first friend was the Starsky that reached out, and then the people kind of caught up to it. So now I have an amazing community that I can always relate to. And now I've been invited to an amazing group with people that I can really hang out with. So this is how it feels. And I'm really happy that we're doing these hangouts for a good cause. Makes me feel good that I'm actually doing something in life that matters. Such as Ukraine, because Ukraine matters. Subscribe to Ukraine Matters.
Well done. We love it. And we love having you here, man. There's a seat at this table anytime you're free to join us, absolutely. Anytime. And myself, I always remind you, fellow babies, get on your government, local, regional, national, wherever you live, there's always that group of idiots that are in charge in one way or another. And, write them an old school letter, buy a stamp. They still exist. You can do an email, you can phone, but urge them to support Ukraine in every way they can, because the more we let them know as a people we want that support given, the easier it is for them to pass it through and actually give it out. So it works. It works. It works. A huge thank you to CF Beauty for running the live chat for us. Ali for helping with the research and whatnot as well there. And I've got a quick membership shout out here. Benny Verhoeven thanks the Shills with a bunch of red hearts. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And let's turn it, as always, to our man, Operator Starsky, for the last words of the day.
Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. And of course, thank you for supporting Janine, because we all we're like family and we care for Janine big time. Again, it's a big pleasure to see my bro Georgie here. I'm very happy to know that he joined our Gigolo forces, and we will be meeting more often in the future. So be safe. That's very important. Be safe, and we will see you later.
Awesome. Stefan R just got in under the wire with a $22 super chat. Thanks for everything, guys. Keep supporting Ukraine. You damn well know we were. Thank you, or we will. Thank you very much. And remember, there's only two words in life that matter right now. Slava Ukraini. We're out of here, fellas.
It's over. Go home. Go.